No, you can kill real animals.
Oh, not for this film, no. No.
So what do you think about showing a film like this at a place, at a festival like Fantasia?
Oh, it's kind of fun because most of my fan base is hardcore kids anyway and goth kids, so it's kind of cool to come here and do this, and I'm just glad Mitch actually took it in because we've been turned down by all the major film festivals, and it seems like the festivals that I'd never heard of, we've been doing much better. Even like, you know, Hot Docs, and then this one, we've been getting much better press coverage, so I'm happy with this. I like Fantasia.
Welcome to the Montreal premiere of Your Mommy Kills Animals. This is, I guess, if you've been reading about the film, you're aware of what you've gotten into by walking through these doors. Okay, it's a film that, yeah, it's one of the most inspirational and also infuriating films I've seen in years. Fantastic movie. Many journalists have been calling it one of the bravest American films ever made. You'll understand why that is by about the halfway mark. Let me now introduce to you a fantastic documentarian, a man who is actually now on a wiretap surveillance program by the FBI as a direct result of making this film. Please give it up for Curt Johnson.
Illegitimate son, doesn't he? Well, thank y'all for coming and enjoy the movie. Luckily, I'm like my name, I'm very brief. It's about the animal rights movement and how in the United States the FBI has declared them the #1 domestic terrorist threat to our country, according, so above Al Qaeda. That's it. I'm sorry, and I'm just glad it's great. I'm just glad Mitch brought us into this festival because it's like. When I know when Ryan Levy had said, "Oh, I think we can get into Fantasia," and I asked him what it was about. He's like, "It's a horror genre film festival." I'm like, "What the fuck are they going to want with this film?" And I just thank Mitch for like bringing it here. So now he's on. I'm sure the FBI's got pictures of him too. So. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Curt Johnson.
Well, those sections would have been, I told you. First question's always that. That's always the first question. It would have been, those sections would have definitely felt more balanced. Because originally we had Ingrid Newkirk and Dan Matthews. They were originally to do the interview, and then I'd only been shooting about a week and a half, and that's when I got an email from their PR person, who's no longer there either, and just saying, you're not going to be objective with your film, so we're pulling out. And then 10 minutes later, I got a call from somebody, it was a PR person from Humane Society of the United States, saying the same thing, like, we've heard you're not going to be objective with your film, so we're pulling out. And then suddenly, it was this little wave, like literally the first round we had 13 interviews just scheduled, like all the big people in the movement, and I got the same thing. Like, I was told not to take part in this film. And so, yeah, those sections would have definitely been more balanced. If they could have explained, because I wish they had talked, because the Ahoskie thing is something I just want to understand better, like why. Well, the thing is though too is because PETA supporters were told not to take part in the film. That's what really, and like I said, it was kind of weird because it kind of like turned out to be a double-edged sword, because suddenly everyone in Hollywood knew about the film because there were so many celebrities, and because no supporters would talk to me. Again, it was like a double-edged sword where suddenly no one who supported PETA could talk to balance that out, and that was the frustration for me because, when people have said, well, you should have, and it's like, well, the minute I start trying to balance it myself, this isn't the film anymore. It's like, because then I would suddenly have to balance out Huntington Life Sciences, because I gave them, it was a total of 9 months, because I even approached Brian Cass, who is managing director now, outside of the trial, and just said, this is what I'm doing, and this is what we're trying to do, and they didn't take part either. But so if I tried to like balance it out for PETA, I'd have to do the same thing for HLS, you know, which I was a little surprised by the Shack movement because I knew, again, going into this film, I had no idea, we didn't know what we were getting into. And the fact that this grassroots group, we were able to keep a company off the New York Stock Exchange, that was a shock to me. I mean, that's like grassroots, literally at its most grassroots best, I guess, if you want to call it that. And I think it was just the combination of everything. You know, it's like when you have big businesses and their bottom line's getting affected, of course they're going to be like, who do we turn to stop this? We've got to fix this. And I think on top of it, coming to people's homes, that was just one more thing on top of it all. And it's funny because I know Pamphlet, and she's based in Los Angeles, and there was a restraining order on her. It was a really weird restraining order because it was called direct or focused protesting.
Okay.
And basically, so what she did is she would go to the house and she, instead of looking directly at the house, she would look this way and protest. So it was an unfocused protest. that's what she
and that
turned
was
out
legal.
to be. Yeah, so
okay.
that was it. With the case, it's like when you look at the individual, like I do believe if they had been tried individually, there wouldn't have been a conviction. So what happened was that they were tried together under conspiracy. And the only thing, I guess the only way to link all of them was through the website. And so it was kind of like the website was used to provoke violence and promote that. And that's kind of how that all got tied together. I really tried hard to see if I could get the judge to allow us to film the courtroom during it, and they wouldn't let us. So it was kind of like that was the best we had. Like every morning, 6 in the morning, freezing cold Trent, we were there with our camera just to be like, hey, that was basically it. Actually, in the rough cut, we did have, it was a medical experimentation section, and it was so, it slowed, it's like it's such a long movie anyway, it was like really slow, so there'll be another one to actually touch on that, because the next film I'm working on now is about the whole meat, or animals for food called Pets on Your Plate. But there was, and what I found, what was really interesting, I was glad the Montreal Gazette mentioned it today in that article we did, was I found out, like when we were doing talking to animal rights people, they were just saying, all we want stem cell, stem cell cultures. That's what we're asking for. That's it. And when I talked to medical researchers, they were saying the same thing. Is that's what they wanted because they really don't want to do the animals themselves because they said it's very expensive, and they'd rather do some, the stem cell research. But it's just not happening. So both sides are in total agreement. And it's like with any movement, you have two sides that are busy, they're yelling at each other, and they don't realize that they do want the same thing. And that's kind of the frustration. You're like, listen, with all the medical research people, because we even did Dr. Temple Grandin out in Colorado, and all of them were saying the same thing, is that if we could do this, this is a big move away from animal testing, and we can actually get more accurate results. Because a lot of people even say, it's like with drugs for men and women. It's like there's a lot of drugs that men can't take that women can, and they, an animal researcher said, so sometimes it's like when you're testing on an animal, if a man and a woman can't take the same drug, how can you always know you're getting the exact results from an animal?
How did you came up with the idea of doing that movie?
Oh, the Drudge Report. I know a lot of people look at me because I am liberal, and they're like, "You read the Drudge Report?" And actually, I kind of like it. It's like because it has news from all over the place. But I saw the listing. It was like I guess August, September 2005, and it was just kind of when I saw that they were ranked #1. I just thought that was kind of weird. And then when I'd ask my liberal friends about animal activists, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh, they're wackos. You might want to be careful with them," and that just kind of got me curious. So it's just my weird curiosity, that's all. Like if I had known what I was getting into, everything we went through on this film, and still going through on this film, I don't know if I would still do it.
Do you want to talk a bit about that, actually? What happened to you at Hot Dogs, the intimidation that you faced, and what's been happening since?
We just had just a group working, that filed a lawsuit on the film, blah, blah, blah. Just, it's kind of like which I'm like, well, they made a reaction. And at Hot Dogs, Sean Finelli, right? Yeah, he had gotten several letters just saying, don't screen the film, pull the film, blah, 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 blah. The other programmer there. And Fantasia, I guess they gave up because we are countersuing.
We've gotten no letters.
Yeah, they got none, so I guess the countersuing. I guess countersuing works. Yay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Curt Johnson.
sorry that you had to be in such trouble for just doing the project, but still, I'm really amazed. Really.
Well, thank you. Well, I gotta say, it's like when people see it, and you respond to it, what we were doing, that makes, I mean, it's like when you do something and you get to launch it, you're like,
that's why I take the time to say this, because I'm not usually rude or something, but I have to say, really, go on, because you did really something amazing.
The next one's gonna be, we're doing one on the whole white supremacist movement.
I can't wait.
That'll be an interesting one, yes. Okay, thank you.